Mr. Work Smarter, and welcome to another episode of the Work Smarter Talk Show. I have a special guest with me today, Vanessa. Thank you for coming. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, funny enough, we actually went to the same university, and she used to ignore me and walk past me all the time. That was the truth. She didn't know anything about me, but I managed. You know what I mean?
No.
Like, years go on, and now we've met again.
Exactly, we're united.
Yeah, we've united. No, honestly, she's a social entrepreneur. She does so much great work in the community. I would call you someone that empowers young ladies. You're all about helping young people get them into opportunities within the corporate world. Your background is actually in the financial sector, so which was very interesting. You worked at JP Morgan, I noticed as well.
Yeah.
But another interesting thing is that you studied human health subject.
I did biomedical science.
Yeah, that was
specialised in human health because my parents were like, "You're going to do medicine."
Oh, okay.
You know, as African parents do. Medicine, and or doctor, lawyer, accountant, and so. I sort of set out when I went to Brunel to pursue a career in medicine, but then I kind of saw a bit more of an entrepreneurial side, especially going to Brunel and being around a lot of my peers, and I kind of went, different routes.
And that's actually really good to know because it shows that you don't actually have to do a finance or business course to get into the banking world, because that's what it started for you.
Yeah, so I think my science degree helped me get into banking. So.
Look, fantastic. Yeah. So look, for those that say, I'm not doing a relevant degree, no, it's not true. Just make sure you get a great grade. So my first question for you then is, what made you leave the banking world to pursue your own business? In fact, take a step back. Let people know your story.
Okay. Yeah, so I did biomedical science at Brunel. And I set up my first social enterprise called the Rafiki Network whilst I was at Brunel. And then I kind of I knew I didn't want to do medicine, but I didn't necessarily kind of have the kind of skills to start my own business full time. So I went into banking. So it was really weird because when I graduated, it was the credit crunch crash. But then weirdly, a lot of banks were hiring, which is really, really strange. So I kind of basically just fell into banking. I needed a job after finishing uni, and just the banks were hiring, so I started sort of temping and then kind of just worked in different banks and worked my way up, and then so I kind of just saw an opportunity, and they a lot of the banks liked my science background. I thought obviously because you can analyse information, which is very important in the financial services, and that's kind of how I got into banking. Okay,
so what made you leave banking to pursue focus on your business full time?
I think it was because I wasn't really passionate about it. So it's a great kind of lifestyle in terms of work in the city, and
I remember the days.
You can kind of get sucked in. It's great. You socialise and you get to go on holidays, and it's nice. But I wasn't necessarily passionate about it. However, I did. I kind of was able to understand sort of how businesses contribute to the community. So in terms of that aspect of banking, I kind of knew that I wanted to kind of do more and sort of more good work. And I kind of just thought, I knew that my passions didn't lie in my day job, and I thought, okay, actually, I think I've got enough skills, enough of a contact, enough network that I can kind of be able to do something that I'm really more passionate about.
Okay, Thank you for that. And now walk me through a typical day in your life.
Oh my gosh, you know what? It's so funny because if I get asked this question, it's really weird because there's no typical day. Every day is different. And I mean, if I have a day like, for example, today, because I also do a lot of presenting or speaking, for example. So I get asked to speak at different events, and I also, present for different various places. So for example, if I've got a day where I'm kind of going to be out, because I live in Kent, so I get up really early. So maybe 6 a.m.
So you take train?
I drive in. So I drive in. So I get up quite early. And one of the things that I do make a must is to watch or listen to the news. So I think you need to know what is going on, because especially in your sector, everything in the world, everything's always changing. So if I'm driving in, I always listen to BBC Radio for the Today Show. It's a must. It's a great produced show. And then if I'm kind of getting ready, I have CNN on or Sky News. And then it's a mixture of kind of going to different, say, speaking at an event or recording a podcast, trying to get emails in between. And it's a lot of long hours. If I am speaking, I usually sort of come back and then log in and sort of do more work sort of when I get home in the evening. So it's very long hours. But I would say when I'm not kind of speaking, in terms of how I sort of be productive, is I have a to-do list. So what I do is the night before every day, I will kind of write down maybe sort of 6 things I need to do and how long I think I need to do each task. So I do live on lists. If I'm not up and down and I'm in the office, I work on lists and I kind of set enough time. So it might be sort of 9 to 10 might be kind of like reply to clients, 10 to 11 might be sort of business development, and making sure that I stick to those times. And again, I try not to answer emails unless it's in a bulk. So, for example, it might be lunchtime. I'll go through all my emails from 12 to 1 and then that's it. Otherwise, you just end up... Yeah, exactly.
No, I'm happy you talked about the list because I don't know about you, but every time I write something down and I complete, I feel great. That's self-fulfillment and you've accomplished it.
Yeah, but I think you've got to be realistic. So don't write too many things that you can't do. So that's why I always advise to write down the time, and then you just feel like really proud, like I've done my to-do.
Yeah, fantastic. My next question is there anything that you currently do, like a bad habit, that you know you shouldn't be doing, but you do?
Social media. It's the bane of my life. Like, it's so bad. I am addicted to social media, and sometimes I even have to have a social media detox. But it's something that I think because you want to be on, and sometimes I get my news from social media, but it's something that I'm trying to learn. So for example, if I know I've got quite a busy month where I need to kind of get my head down, I will kind of delete certain apps. So I've come off Snapchat, I've deleted some apps, and try and only sort of log on maybe in the morning, afternoon or evenings. That's my really one bad habit, is always checking Instagram or Twitter.
It's tempting.
It's
and you know what's so funny is that you like, I'm going to go on for 5 minutes, and you just end up scrolling, you end up going to this page and that page, and you're like, how did I get here?
Exactly.
Just procrastinating for so long.
I know, but it takes so much time out. So I do try and, like, for example, if I'm working, try and sort of like, try and delete the apps if I've got like a busy week. So I'm not going to go into it.
Yeah, cool. And which environment do you feel most productive in?
I have an office in London. And I also have an office at home, so I work from home. And I think, to be honest, I work better when I'm in the office, because it's not, because there's no, let me do my washing or let me go and cook something. It's kind of like I'm in the office and I'm just, get my earphones in and I'm going to do work. So I'm more productive in an office environment. So that's why I quite, like, if you're an entrepreneur, I definitely would recommend, getting a working hub. So we have like a working hub office where there are other businesses as well. So it's not like our main base, it's a base but not our main base, just so that you can kind of have a focus outside of the home. Because otherwise as well, when you're an entrepreneur, it can be quite lonely or quite insular. So it's kind of good to kind of just get out and really,
No, I actually agree with that. I highly recommend getting a co-working space. I know it's an investment, but
it's worth it.
From a networking perspective, you get to meet people, 2 different environment, less distractions, I believe, anyway.
Exactly.
Because for me, when I work from home, I may want to have a nap and everything.
Exactly.
Which is good. I think from time to time having a nap to recharge and everything. But sometimes you can lose yourself. So fantastic. Exactly. And my next question is, what's been your most craziest 24 hours? And it doesn't have to be business related. It could be anything. It could be anything that happened. You're like, wow, that was crazy. That 24 hours was crazy.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
That's a tough one. Okay, so my craziest 24 hours, I think, would be this week. So for my organisation, so at Girls Talk London, we do a lot of women's empowerment. So it's a lot of working with FTSE 100 businesses. And we had International Women's Day this week, which is our busiest week of the year. So in the space of 24 hours, we had like sort of 3 events. 2 were on the same day at the same time. So having staff different places in London, having to sort of manage guest lists and speakers, and I think we had attendees for one of them of about sort of 80 people. So that was a really crazy 24 hours. And then I also had to record a podcast with Virgin Books and Penguin. And so that in 24 hours, that was really busy.
Intense.
That was really, really, really crazy.
Wow, but that's amazing. I hope it all went well for you.
It did. I mean, I think it was exhausting, but I think it was just trying to really kind of, again, just try and be organised. And I'm very grateful to my team. I have a really good team, so
great.
It helped.
Thank you for that. And my last question is, if you was to take yourself back to the age of 21, what advice would you give yourself?
Okay, if I could give my 21-year-old self advice, I would say to her, to really take your time. I think when I was young, I kind of wanted everything now and didn't really realise you've got to really kind of earn your keep. You can't just I expected when I was graduating from university that, I'm 21, I'm going to be, a director or in this investment bank, or I can do her job. Like, why am I here doing this kind of really kind of menial tasks? But I would say you've really got to kind of just really grind it out, and you've got to kind of start from the bottom and work your way up. And life is not, a marathon. It's a journey. It's a long journey. And you just have to kind of really enjoy learning and growing, and not to kind of put so much pressure on yourself. So I think I did put a lot of pressure on myself. So I think to sum up, I would say, life is a long journey. Humble yourself, be prepared to work from the bottom, like start from the bottom, so you can kind of say, now I'm here. So that's what I would say.
No, thank you for that. I really appreciate that. And for me, I can relate to that. Like, everyone thinks now. And they're not really putting the work nowadays. And anyways, we've seen like one-off occasions where someone's made it quickly, and you see some strange stuff. I'm not going to talk about what goes in the media, because people just making it and out of nothing. But me personally, they won't last for long, because they didn't go through a process. It was just a one-off. Yes, they got their breakthrough. But if you really want to be in the game for a very long time, it's about putting in the work. Because when you do lose, you can be like, I've done it before. I can do it again.
Exactly. And I think also it's a case of, sometimes we see people and we think, they've just got the success now. But Malcolm Gladwell, who wrote The Outliers, talks about the 10,000 hour rule. So, for example, it takes you 10,000 hours to become an expert. So we might look at Beyonce and think, okay, she only came out in 2003, but she was doing this since she was, like 4 or 5 years old. So again, it's telling these young people that the people that you see, like the Oprahs and the Beyoncés, the Justin Timberlakes, the Usher, started very young, and even Oprah herself became, I think, quite successful in her 30s.
Yeah, it was even late. I think she lost a job or something.
Yeah, she got demoted and fired. So she got her first talk show when she was 32.
Look at that.
So, people have to understand that there's a journey that everyone goes through, and you just have to kind of put in the work.
Yeah, and do not watch other people. Listen, there's nothing. That's the worst part, because you see them having a great time, and you have to remember, it's social media. We put the things that we want people to see. Because like me, I must say, on my social media, I show a lot of the fun stuff and great stuff, and I don't want people to remember, I'm working in the background. I'm not just having fun.
Exactly.
And we don't want to get caught up in just seeing all the great things. Like, you've got to really be putting the work in the background, because, listen, social media can honestly
That's the thing. Deceive people. And people, because sometimes even people might say, okay, well, for example, I get to speak and work with lots of different brands, which is very exciting. But there's a lot of hard work that goes on behind it. Like hosting a podcast, the amount of hours I have to rehearse the script, and you only have an hour and a half in the studio time, and it's so much pressure, and you've got producers like making sure you want to get it right, and also the long hours. So having to get up early at sort of 6 a.m. and you come and you finish at 10 p.m. So you're watching someone's Instagram story thinking, oh my God, they're living their life. But look how many hours it is. Early starts, late finishes, little sleep. So it's not all glamorous.
No. Thank you for that, Vanessa. I really appreciate you coming down to. And everyone, remember to work smarter.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care. No worries.